boys and girls. Are we live? I think we could be live, but today we're going to continue our in-depth looks at the top championship players in the division. And today it's all about the rocks at the back. Yes, the centre-backs. We're going to see the cream of the crop and the absolute dross coming at you. Hopefully, fingers crossed, we're live. That's right, folks, back once again with another, what do we call this? In-depth look, tier list video out of the championship. And we'll get to that in just 1 second. If you're new to the channel, smash your subscribe button, keep your bang up to date with all things Blackburn Rovers related, championship related, football related, we got all here. A new one, Rovski, and of course, hopefully, fingers crossed, Cody Cahoe, if you're still there, tell me if you're live, boys and girls. We're going to take a little look at the best 24 centre-backs in the championship. One by one, team by team. We're going to take a little in-depth look at them. Well, not really in-depth look, but we're going to categorise them from tip of the top to absolute crap. I'm going to start very, very soon. A big shout out, though, to the patrons of the channel. Russell Frost, No Code Drinker, Tom Beresford, Tom Clark, John Spurn, Aztec Market B Mark, Constable 976, Mitchell Schoen, Cody Cahoe, and Daniel Meller. They are big round of applause to the patrons for the channel, keeping us moving in the right direction through this weird time that there's no football to talk about. But anyway, folks, let's get cracking and take a little look at what we're all on about. It is a tier maker video. Let me just make sure that I'm in the focus. There we go. We're going to take a little look at the top championship centre-backs. I'm going to start with Bruno Martins Indy out of Stoke. Now, he's a bit of a weird one, Bruno Martins Indy. Obviously, a Dutch international, a former Dutch international, maybe he's still currently Dutch international, but he's played this season in various positions, left back, right back, and of course centre-back. So I know him as a centre-back, and for me, he's just had... Hello, Austin Welch, welcome to the stream, buddy, to check out the in-depth look at the centre-backs. Bruno Martins Indy, you know, he's got the name, he's got the reputation of being a decent centre-back, but to be honest with you, this season has not been one of his finest. I also want to stress about this live stream here / video. I'm going to try and pick up the pace a little bit. The past two have been a little bit slow and a bit lackluster. We've got to try and plough through this and get through all 24. So for me, Bruno Martins Indy, yes, he's got the abilities to be a very top centre-back. He might be on the wane a little bit as he's now struggling in the championship. He needs to make a move either with Stoke further up the division, or if he's going to just settle for being a championship at best. So I'm going to stick him as that, championship at best centre-back for me. There are much better ones out there at the moment, including this guy. That's right, one of the best in the business at the moment, Ben White. I think he's actually a Brighton Hove Albion defender on loan with Leeds at the moment, who are flying high at the top of the championship. This kid's got it all, and then he's got the numbers to prove it. He's actually second best with tackles this season, having played 37 games, 63 tackles for him. That ranks him number 2 behind just one man, and I'll tell you who that is later. Out of those tackles, Mr. Ben White has won 60% of them. Now, so that's not too great, but it's not too shitty either. He's also won the most duels, or taken part in the most duels, 375 as well. So this kid knows his stuff. He's also been involved in 88 interceptions as well. So this boy is going places. Even I've read recently in some articles that he's a future England international, and he could even be in the now Euro 2021 squad for England. For me, he's already Premier League quality, and I think he will be playing in the Premier League next season, whether it is with Leeds, whether it is with Brighton. For me, he's already up there. Next up, though, we have one of the old muckers, one of the old knobbers. It is Ben Davies from Preston North End. Now, as much as I hate to say it, he's not a bad defender. He's not a bad defender, but he isn't that great either. He's not cream of the crop, but he's not absolute dross. He's around about the middle. We're talking about championship at best or upper championship for Ben Davies. Take part in 30 games this season, coming out with 25 tackles, which is quite low considering. Obviously, he's not played as many games as some of the other defenders, which ranks him 17th. In the division. He's actually won 52% of the tackles, which is also not very good. He's highly rated within the Preston camp. I did give them the option of a couple. I've given them the option of Ben Davies and of course Patrick Bauer, but they did opt for Ben Davies as the one they would like to keep. He's one of their own. He's been there, seen it, and done it for Preston North End. So for me, yeah, the kid's got a good bit of talent, a very, very strong defender, and to be honest with you, I'd bite him, bite your hand off if you'd offered him as a Blackburn Rovers player. I'd take him, no questions asked. So for me, Ben Davies is a championship defender. It's just whether or not I push him in the upper or lower. So I'm going to sit him right there for the time being. We'll sit and chew on it for a little bit. Next up, we have one of the not so great defenders currently in the championship. There's not many that I'd rank as Burnley quality, but this fella, despite being the #1 choice centre-back at Barnsley's. I think, is he on loan from Leeds? I think he's on loan from Leeds. But yeah, he doesn't rate highly in most of the categories. Having said that, he does rank highly as #1 as the amount of duels taken part. He's actually took part in 388 duels this season, but he's only won 55%, which ranks him down in 21st spot out of the other 24 representatives here today. He's actually made 106 clearances as well, which is low, and has also just made 11 blocks. So, to be honest with you, despite him being on Leeds' books, I think he's down in the lower echelons of centre-backs. If you're going to rank all 24, I think he's going to go down there as Burnley level. And you know what? But in my eyes, Burnley is an absolute dross. So for me, I'm putting him down there. Next up, we have Darragh Lenihan. Of course it is. It's a Blackburn Rover. Yes, Irish international. Darragh Lenihan, he's the beast. He's our rock at the back. We are a much better side when Darragh Lenihan is on board. He doesn't rank in the top 5 of any of the categories, but he's just there or thereabouts in a couple of them. And he's actually sought after by Sheffield United. They've been keeping tabs on him for about 2 seasons now. No, he's not Burnley. He's not Burnley. He's Blackburn. I do want to put him in the upper championship one, but if I'm completely honest with you, he's probably a championship at best for the moment. Don't get me wrong. I rate the kid highly. With him, we are a much stronger unit. But I'm going to stick him there. I've got to be honest with you. He's not upper championship just yet, but he's still reasonably young. And to be honest with you, he's a rock at the back. Next up, we have Yohan Barbet, former Brentford centre-back, now in the books at QPR. He's struggled for games, I think maybe due to fitness or injuries, just playing 18 this season, rocking out 20 tackles in that process. Barbet, I've got the camera's right on his stats here. I've got to move the document over a little bit. Barbet, he's actually ranked 6th for the amount of tackles he's won. That's 70%, which is pretty tip-top. He's also duked out 128 duels in those short amount of games. He is decent. It was very surprising that he left Brentford, swapped Brentford for QPR. But you know what? He's doing an okay job for himself, and I would rank him as one of the upper defenders within the championship. Yep, no, he's very, very decent, is Barbet. I rank him highly. And I was very surprised to see him go for Brentford when he decided to leave. When he decided to leave the Brentford, they went to QPR. Next up, we have Thomas Callas. He was the longest-serving player on Chelsea's books before he finally made the permanent move to Bristol City. He was there on loan for multiple seasons, and he's very, very good. I like him. But he doesn't rank highly in most of the statistics. He's a top 10 player across the board, which means he is championship at best, if I'm going to be completely honest with you. He's not upper championship just yet. Obviously, Bristol City are knocking on the door for playoffs. You never know. If they were to get struck a little bit of luck, he could actually be back playing in the Premier League against Chelsea next season. But Callas, for the time being, is championship at best. One standout for Charlton in their bit of a wonky season is this fella, Tom Lockyer, who was actually bought from Bristol Rovers at the start of the season. He was sought out by a number of the championship clubs, Blackburn Rovers including, I believe. I think we were in there looking at him, but he opted for Lee Bowyer's Charlton. He's had an absolute treat for himself over there as well. Again, not ranked that high in a lot of the categories, but he's just on the cusp. He's actually number 7th with the amount of tackles thrown in, 41, but he's only won 59%, which ranks him around about 18th in the division. Another high category for him is interceptions. He's made 47 interceptions, which puts him in the top 6. Again, you know, he's a shining light for Charlton at the moment, and I think they're going to go places with him at the back. Whether or not they stay in the division is up to the boys to duke it out. So for me, championship at best for Lockyer. He's definitely above League One standard, and he's made the switch quite comfortably from Bristol Rovers to Charlton without no problems. Next up, we have Semi Ajayi, another guy who swapped League One for the championship. Obviously, he was on the books at Rotherham last season. The kid is decent, but he's not. Again, the only one of the stats that he does top is the amount of goals. He scored 5 goals this season, Semi Ajayi, and I remember him scoring quite a few goals for Rotherham as well in the League One battle with Rovers, and of course last season when we were all duking it out for survival in the championship as well. He's a decent defender, but he's more of an attacking unit in my eyes. He's a threat going forward, threat scoring goals, some set pieces. And yeah, he's a decent old defender. But to be honest with you, he's playing at the right sort of level. as a team that could be going places. So I'm going to stick him in the upper championship level right now. So you know what, I'm content with him being there alongside Barbe as one of the top tier defenders out in the championship. They should be playing at this level, so they're in the right spot. Next up, a player that goes under the radar a little bit. It's Sean Morrison from Cardiff, if I'm right. Yes, Sean Morrison from Cardiff. 27 games this season. He ranks second in the amount of tackles won, 78% for tackles won. Decent unit. Goes under the radar. Harley Dean gets a lot of the plaudits. Or not Harley Dean. Another mucker down at Cardiff gets a lot of the plaudits. But this kid does know his stuff. Hello, Stuart Muddy. Yeah, Dirk loves the stats. Thank you very much, Stuart Muddy. What a 7. Hello, welcome to the stream. But yes, Sean Morrison, very decent. Goes under the radar. Love it. He also ranks in the top 4 for the amount of duels won. He wins 65% of all duels. And he's, for me, one of the most underrated defenders in the division. So I'm going to stick him up there. In the upper championship, he's on the cusps at the moment. He could do maybe moving to a team that is rightfully challenging for playoff spots. Cardiff are doing just about that at the moment, and they were Premier League last season. Next up, we have Pontus Jansson. Of course, I'm not going to waste no more time talking about Pontus Jansson. He is Premier League quality, and I don't know why he never got snapped up. I'm not going to waste boring statistical knowledge on him, even though I do rate him highly. He's not that highly ranked in a lot of the categories. He is the one and only stat that he is number 1 in is the percentage of tackles won. He wins 84% of the tackles, which puts him at number 1. Next up, we have Fulham's Michael Hector. Now, he's only played 11 games, so maybe they've not really opted for him at centre-back, or injuries have concerned him, but they do rate him highly as their choice of centre-back. But to be honest with you, the stats don't really paint a better picture for this kid. And to be honest with you, I'm struggling to see him better than League One. I can't see, where is he now? 11 games, just 12 tackles in those games. So that's just barely over 1 per game. So that's not fantastic stats. Meanwhile, he's won 67% of the duels, which is pretty high. He's within the top 10. However, the amount of duels he chips in with, again, maybe purely because of the games he's played, 105 duels, which ranks him bottom. However, out of those 104 games or 4 duels, he's won 62%, which puts him in the top 10. And again, it's just, you know what, I need to see more of him to make my opinion of him. But he's right now League One at best. To be honest with you, I might be a bit harsh on him because he's former Chelsea man, so they must have thought him. He's ranked highly in FIFA, as you can see, 72 rated. So he's probably should be more towards the upper championship. It is a little bit harsh, but I'm going with the numbers and what I've seen with him. And 11 games just doesn't cut it. Meanwhile, on the flip side, this fella Luton's Matty Pearson has chipped in with 37 games this season. Putting at 45 tackles as well, which puts him in the top 4. He's also won 69% of those tackles, which is in the top 7. So they might be going down, but I think one player who will be sticking around in the championship is Matty Pearson. I'm going to put him at championship at best for the time being. And again, depends on where he goes with the move. Next up, we have another loanee. It's Matt Clark. I think he's from Brighton. Is that right? Is he from Brighton? I think he was snapped up from Portsmouth by Brighton. Or Bournemouth, or somebody in the chat. If you're watching, let me know where he's from. Hello, West Ham Cyber Leader. Hello. So yeah, Matt Clark on the books at Derby this season, 26 games, just 27 tackles in those 26 games. Again, barely over 1 per game, which ranks him 13th in the division. He's only won 52% of those tackles, which rates him at 22nd in the 24 centre-backs we were looking at today. So that's pretty low. He has made the jump from League One to the Premier League, then loaned back down to the Championship. So I don't know. I'm undecided. I'm on the fence. I don't think he's definitely not Premier League quality, and he's definitely not upper Championship quality. And I'm resigned to push him in alongside Michael Hector at League One. So I think he's down sort of that sort of area, just purely because of the stats and the numbers. The numbers don't really lie. He does rank highly in the amount of duels he's won. He's won 70% of the duels, but everything else is mediocre, but below par. So yeah, I'm gonna push him down to League One level. Next up, we have Birmingham's. Here we go. Birmingham's Mark Roberts. Again, a player that goes under the radar. Usually it's Harley Dean that gets the credits of Birmingham, but this guy has been is the top of the pops according to the Birmingham fans. Again, I ran polls across the Facebook pages, across the Championship. I was in there in disguise with a mask on, pretending I was, for example, a Birmingham City fan, and I asked them straight up. I gave him a poll. I said, out of these 4 players, who would you want to keep if you know the coronavirus went wild and you can only keep one of the players? And they opted for Mark Roberts. So that's the guy who got put forward. He's played 28 games, checking in 30 tackles, which puts him just outside the top 10. He's won 53% of them, which is quite low. He's actually won 329, took part in 329 duels, which is in 9th. And he's actually won 72% of those duels. 72%. That is number one. And then because of that statistic, it pushes him up a few notches, to be honest with you. So I'm gonna put him, to be honest with you, at championship at best. I wasn't that surprised or blown away with him when Blackburn took on Birmingham 3 times this season. So you know what, he could play at an upper level, but to be honest with you, I think he's where he's at. Now, one guy who doesn't get a lot of credits, see you later, Cody Cahoe, is this fella, Dan Reading's captain. Liam Moore played 36 games this season, 38 tackles. That's the top 8. He's actually won 74% of those, which makes him at top 4. He's still of a decent age. He's a leader. He's a captain. You know what? If we were offered him a Blackburn Rovers, I'd bite your hand off. I think he's playing below his level. I think he should be a little bit higher as a top 6 team, top 8 team. And to be honest with you, I'm putting him at upper championship. Liam Moore's got the capabilities to go places. He might have. I think he's settled though at Reading. I think he's settled there. To be honest with you, I don't think he's likely to move. He's got the captain's armband. He plays with pride and the numbers to prove it. He's got decent stats all round across my categories up here. So yeah, Liam Moore goes there. Next up, another player, Sheffield Wednesday. They opted to pick Julian Borner. Was that his name? Julian Borner? Borner. There's an umlaut in there somewhere. Julian Borner has played 30 games for Sheffield Wednesday, winning 34 tackles, which puts him in the top 10. 62% of those tackles were won, which puts him in the top 15. However, he's actually took part in 365 duels. That's one a day. That's in the top 4, folks. And he's won 60% of those as well. But the numbers are pretty boring. They're pretty flat. We can't really get too excited about it. So I'm actually deciding to keep him in the championship level. He's probably where he's at. Sheffield Wednesday do have a good team, good unit. Maybe it's just the manager that's got them all wrong at the moment. So I'm getting quite a lot of just championship at best midfield. Lenihan is Prem quality. That's Mike Dean. It's from the gaffer himself. What's the bottom tier? The bottom tier is absolute trash. That's the Burnley tier. Absolute garbage. Next up we have this guy, Geordie Device. Now, again, Hull are in free fall, but this guy's got some good numbers. He's got 187 clearances, which ranks him in the top 2. And he's also made 56 interceptions, which is in the top 2. But the rest of his numbers are absolute gash. He's played 28 games, 43 tackles, top 6 for that. So the numbers suggest he's an upper championship defender. But to be honest with you, I can't see it. To be honest with you. So I'm going to, despite all the pluses and minuses, I fear he should be at League One, and that's where the whole city are going at the moment. I'm putting him down there. Yeah, Burnley, buddy. Burnley are absolute trash, mate. Absolute trash. Yes, garbage. 6-fingered banjo playing weirdos. You heard it. Ain't that right, Stuart Murray? Yeah, he knows the drill. Next up, this is a weird one. I've seen this over the past few days, especially yesterday we looked at fullbacks. It's Middlesbrough's very own Johnny Howson. He's classified as a midfielder. He's been playing as one of the 3 centre backs at Middlesbrough these days. So I've put him down as a centre back, and his numbers aren't that bad. He's played 33 games, 68 tackles, which is number 1 in the championship. Number 1. So he's doing pretty good. He's holding his own as a centre back, despite being a central midfielder. You have put him in championship, and I have. I did talk about that at the start of the video. I don't want to seem biased by putting him further up. He is very, very good. I don't think he's Premier League quality. When push comes to shove and you look at the centre backs, Darrell Lenihan is between. It's like Ben Davies, upper championship or championship at best. But to be honest with you, I've just settled with championship at best for the time being. Anyway, Johnny Howson's numbers have him ranked quite high. He's also got 52 interceptions this season, which puts him at top 3. So the numbers suggest he is at least a championship at best centre-back. But we're getting a bit too jam-packed here, folks. We're getting a bit too jam-packed. Next up, though, Joe Worrell from Nottingham Forest. He's been an absolute revelation at Nottingham Forest. He was tipped to leave. There was rumours that he was going to leave at the start of the season. But he stuck around, and they've looked the better for it. And I rate him highly. He could have gone to one of the Glasgow teams as well. Rangers were looking around. He's definitely here, if not higher. What have I got Joe Worrell on the old numbers? Joe Worrell, 37 games, 26 tackles, ranked 16th in division. He does rank number 1 in clearances, 189. He's also number 1 at 48 blocks. He's also I'm actually opting to push him up as a Premier League sort of defender already. He's still very, very young, so he's up there with Jansen and White. Very, very highly rated. Next up, we have Swansea's Joe Rodon, youngster. Is that how we pronounce it? Joe Rodon. 21 games, 22 tackles, which ranks him 19th in the division. 64% of those were won, which puts him in 14%. It's pretty low at the moment, if you're honest with you. And I'm not really blown away with him, to be honest with you. So I'm going to push him down here. We've got too many championship at best. So I'm going to push him further down. Next up, one guy I've been surprised with. I'm a bit surprised with Millwall this season. They've been knocking on the door, and they look very, very close to getting into those playoffs. And a lot of the respect will go down to Jake Cooper. He's been absolute bits at the back. Jake Cooper's 37 games, 26 tackles, which ranks him 15th in the division. 77% of those were won, which is in the top 3. He's also got 68% win rate with his duels, and he's 170 clearances as well. The kid's done well. When I say kid, he's getting a bit on a little bit now. He should be playing at a little bit of a higher level. If he's not going to be going anywhere with Millwall, I'm sure he's going to be playing with a top team in the Championship, if not the Premier League next season. One guy who could join him, Divish, should be Championship at best. What have I put him as? Maybe. It's fringe. It's fringe, buddy. Next up, another player who should be playing at a higher level, and I'm on the fence on this one. It is Christian Schindler. I'm torn between the Premier League and Upper Championship. The numbers are pretty solid. He's pretty decent all round. He took part in 60 tackles, which is the top 3. 173 clearances, which is the top 3. 32 blocks as well, which is in the top 4. The guy is decent. I don't know why Huddersfield were struggling. They have some decent players on the books. I'm actually going to be. I'm inclined to push him in the Premier League. He was there with them last season. He won't be there next season with them because they're struggling, but he may get a move as well. And then I think this is the last guy. It's Che Dunkley. Now this kid knows what the back of the net is. He is the top goal scoring centre back at the moment with 6 goals this season. Probably Wigan's top goal scorer. But that's pretty much where the story ends with Che Dunkley. He's a goal scoring centre back. He's pretty decent, and I do remember when Wigan had a good solid pair at the back. But to be honest with you, he belongs in League One, and that's where he's going to belong. As for Ben Davis, I'm going to slide him along here at Championship at best. So that will conclude the centre backs. How quick were we on that one? We were pretty quick draw. So tomorrow we're going to take a look at the central midfielders. Now, what I would like you guys to do, there's straw polls in the live video setup. Make sure you check that out so you can get your votes in and then cast your votes, and then we'll have a viewer slide here with what you guys think where the central midfielders. Now, another straw to that bow is that we are looking at central midfielders, not attacking midfielders. For example, Bradley Dack, if he was selected, would not feature in the central midfield. We're talking more about your bog standard central midfielders, your defensive midfielders, not your attacking midfielders. That will take place on Friday, I believe. Anyway, that is pretty much it. If you agree or disagree, give me your thoughts down in the comment section down below. Are the likes of Christian Schindler, Joe Worrell, Pontus Jansson, and Ben White Premier League quality? What about Barbet, Ajayi, Morrison, Moore, and Cooper? Are they upper championship quality? And what about the likes of Martins, Darrell Lenihan, Callas, Pearson, Roberts, Howson? Are they championship at best? Get your thoughts and opinions in the comment section down below. We'll do it all again tomorrow, but take a look at the midfielders. Be sure to bang the thumbs up, bang the subscribe. Yes, I know, we're still begging for the football to come back, but guess what, folks? It could be a long ways yet. Be sure to bang the thumbs up. Check out the description. Links to my other social media platforms are in there. Twitter, Facebook, and of course the Patreon if you want to support the channel in another way. Now's a good time to do it, folks. Make sure you check that out. Patreon.com/RoverSeas. Anyway, I'm going to get out of here. I'll see you tomorrow, hopefully, for another live show. Got some other videos coming through as well. Make sure you check that out. And also check out the old Football Manager. I've been working on that today. It's going to get interesting, folks. It's going to get interesting. Until I see you all again, bang the thumbs up, and I'll see you next time. Thanks for watching.